Good morning, people. Good morning, good morning. How's everybody? Seeing a lot of voting going on. That's good. Should there be a second stream this week? What do you guys think? Morning, Control. We got Shrimp Father here. Happy's here. Good morning. Still a little early. We're going about 15 minutes earlier than normal this week. I think 7 a.m. Originally, when I first started streaming back in January, February timeframe, I was targeting 7 a.m. But I always found like that last 10 minutes rush time, so I slid it to 7:15, and I'm trying to get back to 7 a.m. Need more streams. Love it. Yeah, so I'm gonna be kind of solo for the next couple of days, so I get the week off again. I'm trying to just burn up my leave before I lose it. Wife is taking kids to get on an airplane and then off to NorCal to help a brother out. So I'll be home alone from like Tuesday afternoon through Friday afternoon. So why not do a secondary stream? Home by myself, no working, so why not? Need more streams? Just don't care. Good morning, Havoc. Yeah. I really want to get this project done. That's kind of the reason for the extra stream. I don't foresee that happening too much after like July timeframe. So after 4th of July, I start classes again. So I'll be working on my master's, and that's going to require a lot more time than I'm used to giving out. And so I'm really going to have to buckle down if I want to do even one stream. So we'll see how that works out. If it becomes too much of an issue and kind of conflicts with what I got going on, we'll have to make some tough decisions during that point. But that is a month from now. We're not worried about it today. That's future Joseph problems. All right. So first things first, we got to get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. How's the audio? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if audio is good for you all. Music's not too loud, all that kind of stuff. If you like what you're hearing, give me a thumbs up in the chat. Seeing pink waving hands. That's good enough. Might need some multicolor parts printed, or convince your wife to let you build a MFS. Well, Havoc, if you need multicolor prints, DM me. I think we've been talking on Discord anyways, so I can hook you up with some multicolor parts. Just shoot me a message on what you're looking for, what material and whatnot, and we can work out something. I got your back. Happy says we're good. Music is very low. You want it a little louder, Kitchell? I've got it low on purpose. There's sometimes every time you stream, this is for anyone that's thinking about it. Every time you stream, you want to go back and review the game tape. Every pro NFL team does it, even if they win the Super Bowl. You guarantee they go back on Monday and they review that game tape. And they point out everything they did wrong, everything they did right, whatever, right? You should be doing the same with your streams or anything that you're creating where you want to improve. So do a thing, go back, measure, take notes on what you did well, what you did poorly, and then improve from there. That should happen every time if you want to improve at a thing. Even when I fly, one of the things we do, we'll go fly. And we write down everything that we mess up, and then we talk about it when we get back. And I've been doing that for 23 years. And now we're pretty good at flying, but we still make mistakes every day. If you're not doing that, you're not improving. Just moving. So cool. Doesn't matter, low is fine. Yeah, I've got you set to about 15% right now. If you want it a little louder, we can do that. If you want it lower, we can do that. Important thing is that you can hear what I'm saying. Cool. So last week, if you were here, oh, Happy, I did see your message talking about my thumbnail. It's a conversation starter. That's what it is, right? Wife and I were having a discussion about, oh, you should grow your hair out, this and that. I want to see you with long hair. That's not happening. I'm not a hair person. So it's sort of an inside joke, a little bit of a meme. We'll see if what I look like with hair. So I took my face, AI generated me with hair, and that's what you got. Don't like it though. I'm sticking with this. I need a beard. I do. So I get about this far, and when you guys see me on the next stream, it'll be a little more It takes me about 2 weeks to get a nice beard going, and then about a month to get a really nice beard going. It comes in really bright orange, and then all under here is sort of gray. So I agree, I need a beard, but job won't let me have one, so we'll deal with it. Couple more years. Cool. So that's the story with the thumbnail. A little bit different conversation starter. We'll see how it goes. Some things that came in the mail this week that I want to share with you all. I'll take you over to the desk and show you what we got. These are parts that we're going to install. I was getting crap in the comments last week about I'm not going to be able to install my gantry because I already put my top frame on. I would argue against that. I found a solution where I didn't have to take the top rails off, and it worked out pretty well. I also mentioned that I lost my parallel jaw pliers, my Knipex, and I was able to find these on Amazon for about half the price. So if you're in the market for a set of nice parallel jaw pliers, these are pretty much exactly the same. They're not chrome. They are powder coated or anodized, one of the two. They look exactly like the other ones that I had, except these are black with a blue handle instead of aluminum with a red handle. They're 180 millimeters from Toulon. I think that's how you say that. Good morning, Kegel. Good morning, Rushmere. So these work pretty well, and they got the same button. They adjust out, and I like these. I've been using these over the last couple of days to do things and stuff, and they feel pretty decent. So can't beat that for, I think these were like 25 bucks or something instead of 50 bucks. About half price. So that's another thing. And then I did get my order from West 3D a couple of days ago. These are the new wire strippers I got. You can find these on their website. They're pretty affordable. I want to say around 15 bucks. Have not used them yet, but we will use these for the build. So that's that. And then last things last, we got a new package from Doc Mercy. So if you don't know, Doc Mercy makes a lot of stickers. He makes things like stickers for Box Turtle and stickers for a lot of the bigger name projects that you see out there. So a lot of Voron stuff, just all over the place. So if you visit his website, you'll see what he has to offer. But he made up some stickers for me, and we're going to unbox these live. I have not seen these yet. I literally cut the tape, blacked out my address information, and we haven't seen these yet. So we're going to unbox them live right now. So you can tell because I didn't cut all of the tape. So not only did he help me with a updated design for my logo, he made the stickers for me and got them out all within a quick time frame. Oh, look at that. Prescription for sticker addiction, Doc Mercy. So we'll add him to the spirit animal wall right there. And we can do, let me turn that off for a second. So you see my, so you got Reth, you got Jason, and you got Doc Mercy now on the spirit animal wall. Hey, Down Under Maker, good morning. Thanks for swinging by. Hopefully you can stay for a little bit. I know it's late for you. One day I'll get some koalas or some upside down emojis for you. Ooh, look at that. So we're just checking out the new stickers that we got from Doc Mercy this week. They showed up last night, so I walked out this morning and they were on the doorstep. So checking these out. It came out really nice. So through his design, we kept largely the same logo as we had before, so you still get the KP. But the thing that he did is he churched up the outside square that we had, so that cube, made it more digital. He also made this holographic, so that's why you're seeing the color shifting. And then to make it a little more 3D printing related, he added a nozzle here, so it looks like sort of filament is printing out the those are there. You guys want some? Shoot me a note. I just need an address and I can send you a few. But this is the first run. I think I have 250 of these. So as I ship out orders and stuff, these go in there. But if you want them, shoot me a note. I'll get one or two over to you. Well, sweet. Those came out great. Highly recommend. So that's that. Where we left off last week was with our gantry though. Take you over to Chrome, you'll see what I mean. Hopefully I'm on the right tab here. Yeah. So we left off here. My extrusion was quite a bit shorter than this. So I had a 340 extrusion. Good morning, Yuri. No, you're good, Down Undermaker. See you in 10 hours. Yeah, so our extrusion was, I want to say 340 is what we ended up with. And that was not going to work out. That was way too big for what we needed. So I needed to cut it down. I didn't want to do that on stream. Pretty messy, pretty loud. And I couldn't really figure out where the tool was. I needed a cutoff wheel. I could use also a hacksaw. And thinking about it, I probably should have used a hacksaw. I got through the extrusion in 30 seconds just to cut it down. Printing some stickers for you at Murph. Cool, man. Yuri, I'm gonna need a sticker, man. And then I'll send you one as well. But I cut it down in about 30 seconds. But it's not as pretty as I normally would like it. I've always cut my extrusions with a hacksaw using a high tooth count blade. And that's always given me a pretty decent cut. Get on there with a file to clean it up just a touch, and it works out pretty decent. It's just not anodized on that end once you cut it. So with this one, it came out a little bit ugly, but it was able to work. It's also pretty hidden being on the back, and then also within the two motor mounts there, you really can't see it at all, but I know it's there, and that was important to me. So just to note, recommend using a hacksaw. You have a little more control, a little bit cleaner cut because you can control the amount of force and stuff you're putting in. Either way, we got through it. I got that mounted on the machine. You can see it kind of back here. This one here, I just went ahead and put it on. One of the things we were talking about is not being able to put the motor mounts on if I had the upper beams on. Well, that's not exactly true. It's a little bit fiddly. So I'll rotate this just a touch and show you what I'm talking about. What I ended up doing is I put one of those roll-in T-nuts here at the bottom, and then up top I have those drop-in nuts. So I just dropped them in there, rotated them to the position. And what I'm going to do is I'll take my part, and then it just so happens that in the rotated position, those bolts line up with those T-nuts. And so I was able to get a tool down through the top and up through the bottom and tighten those down. So right now, I just need to kind of line those up. I just slide up my roll-in T-nut to sort of align the drop-in versions with the part and where the screws are coming out here. And then I just put that in there and adjust it. Cool thing is on these front motor mounts, you have a window here through the tensioner that you're able to apply the tool. Secondary benefit is that this tensioner slides forward and back. So if you slide it all the way to the rear, it's going to hold in your hardware, so I can push on that and it's not going to come out because it's being blocked by the orange tensioner. Once I slide it forward like that, now I can access the head of those bolts, and then it still holds the hardware in. So that may be a better solution, just to have it like that. I can keep the top beam on and not have to remove it. On the rear side, that's not the case. It was a little fiddly. Had to make sure that the hardware did not fall out of there. But you're able to do it if you need to. Okay, so just keep that in mind. One thing I do need to make sure is, does this one go this way or does it go this way? I can sort of see it's a little washed out there because it's all one color, but it has the i3 logo. This way is up, so that tells me this probably goes on this side. And the other version over here probably goes on that side because the logo is up and down. Good morning, Digital Dragon. Thanks for being here on a Sunday. We're finishing up the Inertia³ build. This still has T-nuts on here, so I'm gonna remove these. I also needed to print some new parts. I designed a few brackets. My bottom panel is different. This is a beta build. So my bottom panel here sort of just kind of drops in and sits on top of the feet. That is not the case on the production build. On the production build, the panel is a little bigger and you're able to secure it into the bottom of the skirts like a normal Voron build would be. This one is not that. This one just kind of lays in here, but there are holes throughout that you can kind of not even really see. They're so small. And so what I did is I made this little bracket here and tip this up. You can see a little better. I made this purple bracket. It's just a simple L bracket. It's got a hole in it down here with a heat set insert and an M5 screw up top. That takes it into the bottom extrusion here to secure that. And then with an M3, I can come up through the bottom of the panel, and that sort of holds it onto the frame. There are places for 8 of these around the bottom panel. And I printed 1 to test it out. 7 more just finished on the printer. I need to go grab those and do some heat inserts. And then we'll add those on. That should really stiffen up this bottom panel. In addition to the DIN rails keeping things from bowing like that. So around the perimeter, we'll have some support. Across the middle, we'll have some rigidity. And that should be good enough for us. Good morning, Boothie. All right, so with these though, I've got that all lined up. And actually, I think what I did initially is I got my hex key out here. I think I pushed this up a little higher. That way, when I insert this, I can just get it started and then push it down so that the bottom of this plate is flush to the top of the stop. So I apologize if I get my head in the shot. I'm trying to not do that. But once I get in there with the ball end of this tool, I can feel that grab. And there are 2 there. And then once those start to grab, I'll snug them down. Yeah, they're definitely going. I can feel it. That top one I messed up, cross-threaded it just a bit. There we go. Once I get it started, it should be fine there. I don't know why it's not working all the way. No, it's still a little bit cross-threaded there. What I did is I started with the bottom one and got that going. And that T-nut rotated in there, so we may have to reset for a second. Yeah, I'm gonna take the top one all the way out. And I'm gonna take the bottom one out and just reset everything because I messed it up somehow. We got them out of alignment. So I think I'm gonna start with the top bolt instead of the bottom one. Let's see how that goes. That way the top one doesn't rotate and it sort of blocks the bottom one. So I just have those T-nuts in there. Do this top one and see how that works out. Just saw the thumbnail. What is AI? Treat Williams? I don't know who Treat Williams is. That might be the thing that Boothie shared with me yesterday. I don't know Treat Williams. I'm not into British television or whatever, but I think Boothie shared that with me yesterday. It's pretty funny. No, the wife and I were talking about me growing my hair out, and I told her absolutely not. And she was on me about it. So, as a joke, I made a AI thumbnail with me with hair, and that became the actual thumbnail for the stream today. Good morning, Robert. Yeah, so Robert, the access on this thing, you can actually get access if you drop your T-nuts in first. I just used a roll-in down at the bottom to support the drop-in T-nuts. And then with the windows in the side of the tensioners here, you can access the hardware and tighten things down. All I'm doing now is trying to get it aligned with the T-nut itself. Just bring that down a little more. Sorry for being in the camera. I just can't see what's going on. Push this up just there we go. See if we can get that bottom one now. I knew you couldn't have that much hair. No. I used to have longer hair when I was a kid. But now that I'm older and I've been to a lot of places where it's really hot, hair makes it really hot. and I have no interest in keeping long hair after that. No interest whatsoever. All right, I'm having a hard time here. Oh, there we go. That's why. This should be in the frame. Did I catch the Mad Max release stream? I did not. I've not heard the Mad Max. You talking like the movie trailer? What do you mean, Kitchell? Haven't printed the Gantry. You're still rocking the beta parts? I have the beta CAD. I saw that. I didn't really examine it to see what the differences are, though. To be honest. Just trying to get these started here. Gotta figure out a process. I probably should have just did this off camera. That way I can move things around and not worry about making sure you all can see. Ordered parts already. Tool changer you can fit in a V0. Longest it's ever been. Oh yeah, you did have pretty long hair, Happy, at Rocky Mountain. I do remember that. I was thinking to myself, I didn't say anything, but I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, he grew his hair out. Not in like a bad way, but just something I noticed. Out of there. All right, note to self: use a long Allen key in here. That the other one's not going to work out. Yo, so Happy you're building one of these or what? I feel like this smaller one is rotating inside of itself, so let's do an adjustment on this tool. Should be a flat spot on these Allen keys to prevent it from rotating, but mine is rotating regardless. I just want to tighten down the adjustment. Oh, you're on your sugar cube. Okay. How far are you with that sugar cube already? Are you done yet? There we go. That works a lot better. I can actually get some work on that now. You bought a bunch of crap. Kitchell, are you going to Murph? I wanted to. This is where I get in your view a little bit. So sorry, guys. I wanted to go to Murph. It doesn't make sense for me financially to go. I really would like to. I think honestly, like going to Portland for Vice, it was a little easier for me to go to Vice last year because it was in Reno and I could just drive up there. It's like 6 hours. So, you know, a tank of gas to get there, stay in a hotel, tank of gas to get home, and then whatever you ate for food while you were there. A little more doable. Portland is a plane ride now. It's hotel, it's probably rental car plus all that, and so the plane ticket and the rental, I think that puts it out of reach for me, unfortunately. I don't know, maybe we'll work something out where we could carpool or share a room or something like that with someone else, and we'll figure it out. But I'm not saying no to Vice yet. I'm saying no to Murph because I just can't. It's too soon and it's too far. All right, so as I get that, I'm gonna slide those T-nuts down and then we'll just come on to Cybertech. Still gonna machine a couple parts. What do you? I didn't realize there were machine parts on a sugar cube. I know of the project. I don't know the details of the project. So feel free to share them, Happy. I'm always interested in building smaller machines because I have little to no space for anything else. Having so many large machines. Most of mine are 300 plus. Got several, like I've got one 200, one 180. There's a V0 over there that I don't really use. Stinger. But man, let me see. How many printers over 300 or larger? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 machines over 300. So at least 300. Some are 350. Some are 320 in you're talking about the Delta over here. And then I don't know, about the same number of machines that are 200 or less. So definitely need to size down. You hope to have a printer designed to print very soon. Cybertech, which one are you looking at, or are you making your own design here? So that was a little fiddly, but you can do it. And just to make sure that your tensioners are moving, mine are. There's enough freedom in there. I want to commend the team. They put enough clearance between these parts to make that a nice smooth slide. I really like how they use flat T-nuts in there so that your tensioner can go through and sort of pull that in without using up too much real estate inside. So pretty good design. Especially if a spare Ender 3 bed. I have a few of those. And you're making your own. Cool. Do you have a name for the project? I'm curious. I'm not asking you to share stuff you're not ready to share, but if you have a link for it or somewhere someone can go to find out more information, feel free to say so in the chat. If you would like to post a link, let me know. I'll give you rights to post a link really quick. Up to you, man. X-X. I don't know what that means. I think that's like an emoji thing. I'm just trying to remove these rail stops that I forgot out of here. We'll get moving. You need to machine the bed, have the material, need to make time. Well, you're getting slammed with the panel orders from me all the time. I can imagine why you don't have time to. Yeah, Cybertech, you can find me on Discord. Same name everywhere on every social media platform. Killer Prince. I'm in all the normal Discords. You can find me on any one and just DM me a link if you got some, or a photo. That'd be cool. I'm working on a server myself for this channel. I've been doing that in kind of the spare time, like 30 minutes a day. Not really a huge amount of time, but I'm setting that up. Hopefully we can get through that this week. Well, I have a lot of time on my hands and not a lot of responsibility, and then we'll do a thing. Take your title of Hap's best customer? No, Robert, you're Hap's best customer, man. I am probably Hap's more frequent customer. I'll say it that way. Not because I'm the best, but because I don't know how to stop. Cool. That's that. Let's get back to the manual, see what else we can do here. We've done the extrusion in the rear. Showed that off already. Let me find my window. This one. We've done that. Those are on. That's in. I assembled these after stream. I needed to sand a lot of the pins and whatnot. Took my time really putting this together so I didn't crack it again. So this is what happened with the assembly on those. Pretty straightforward, nothing cosmic about it. This is the one part I was talking about that was nice. These flat T-nuts slide into the plastic part, and these serve as a durable way to tension your belt. Thanks for the sub, Havoc. Good morning, Captain Kern. And because of that, I don't have to worry about cracking a tensioner or anything. I really like that. Kudos to the design team. And then you build a mirrored version. We just installed those. And then it has you put on these top pieces, which are the next thing that we need to do, the frame top mounts. Shared a pic over on Lee Marie's show off. Okay, and tagged me. Sweet. I usually don't jump into Discord during stream, but I want to see what this looks like. Oh, you're making a Mad Max. Okay. Let's take a look at it. So we're still on the Chrome tab. You should be able to see this. Yeah. So this is ZRuncho's Mad Max. It's an update 14 hours ago. So this is a relatively new project. I have not heard of this one. Very cool. Oh, it's a tool changer. I want to see what that looks like. Hold on. Squirrel. Oh, wow. Cybertech, that's pretty cool, man. Thanks for dropping that link. That is interesting. What frame is it built on? Solid core new plate carriage design using Maxwell couplings. Okay. Currently active beta. So it's a tiny tool changer. But this person has a 350. A 350 Trident. That's interesting. Ooh, I like how the docks are mounted. You have these brackets that go on the vertical extrusions and it docks to the side. That's different. That way you don't have that big crossbar in the front sort of blocking the view. That's very cool. Launched yesterday at 5. Nice. Ambrosia's metal VT. Okay. Tridex 250. So I absolutely love projects like this because it can take a printer that you kind of neglected, you built, you don't use anymore, and kind of breathe new life into it, and make you kind of fall in love with the hobby again and fall in love with the printer again by updating it and adding sort of a new innovative idea to it. Like, I really love this. That's awesome. Oh, and they even did a micron. That's really cool. Somebody did a micron. Not yours. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't made it over to the Discord to see where I just went to the message that you sent me. I'm looking at the Discord now, though. Oh, I've seen this. Okay. I commented on this one. This was the printed frame one. Yeah. I've seen yours. I've seen your idea. Yeah, I think I commented on that and asked if it was a fully printed frame, and you said you were working on stuff. I didn't realize that it was a Mad Max. It didn't play in my mind that way. I wasn't familiar with the Mad Max project, but I am now, and I'm actually really interested now. We'll add this to the to-do list and save it for later. Cool. But getting me off track here. You know I like printer builds. Back to the topic at hand. Finishing up the motor mounts. Didn't want to get credit for someone else's. No, you're good, man. As long as you say like where it's from or whatever, I think you're fine. I don't think anybody's gonna give you crap over that. Anyway, we've got to do one of each of these. And I need to zoom in a little bit. Make sure that I am positioning these correctly. Okay, so it looks like the little bump out goes towards the inside of the printer, towards the center of the printer. So we'll make sure we install it that way. Back over. Okay, so this is the bump out on the printed part here. We want to make sure that goes to the inside of the machine, which means that this one can go here. It could also go back here on that side, and either way is correct. When I built mine, I added a washer underneath the screw head here. I'm using M5x10 hardware, so it's a little bit longer. It's able to tolerate that washer under there. But in my experience, I find that adding the washer allows that screw head to sort of rotate and turn without marring up the part or getting caught or inducing a lot of friction on the part itself. So you're able to get a smoother, tighter tension on the screw head without it stripping out or cracking apart or anything like that. Just again, my preference, not in the manual, but it's how I do. So we'll just get those two on there. We'll add two more. I'm just putting those on until they are snug. We're not cracking plastic or anything. And when I get done here, I'm gonna run over to the printer and pull off those extra parts for the base panel. I don't know if anything was already out there to do what I was doing with supporting the bottom panel like that, but I just made my own because it was pretty simple. It took me about 20 minutes to make two different brackets. And the reason I made two is because the one back here needed to reach up under the IEC socket, so that power inlet. And because it needed to reach under, I had to sort of kick it out. So this one here, let me make sure you can see that. This one here behind the socket is, you can't see it at all because the bed's in the way. There we go. This one here is a little bit different. It needed to get under the socket to reach the screw hole. So that one's a little different. The one that's on this side is just an L bracket, and you know, the other 7 of them are the same. So I just printed out 6 more copies after I made sure they worked. What hot end am I using on the build? Can't tell you. Can't tell you, so. But it's a different hot end. Let me pull these parts off really quick. It's a different hot end that is in beta testing, and I want to test it on this machine. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you that, but what I can say is it's going to be nice, and it should flow well. It looks good. Everything that I've seen from other testers are positive, and here's the rest of those. Everything I've seen from other testers is positive. So I'm excited. It's my turn. I've kind of been putting it off. I've tried not to build on the machine while not on stream with you all. And so to preserve that, I haven't, but that means it takes me a little longer to get to where I want to be. I might have had this done if I were not streaming it. And that's not a dig at anybody here. It's just a fact. Let's move these roll-ins out of the way a little bit. We'll pull those out later, reuse them. I've intentionally left things just a touch loose so that we can adjust to make sure that we're getting the gantry trammed in the way that it should be. And now that we have those, we can look at the window I dropped down. All right, so we're on to steel rods. I did measure these out. They are 12s. I checked the bearings. They are what they should be. They came in my beta. Now we're gonna probably come over to the desk and use, and sort of assemble these parts here. And then this is the thing that really kind of drew me to this project, is that the y-axis sort of just slides in. It slides in, sort of aligns itself without too much work, too much trouble. And after that, you just kind of have a gantry. It's cool. Like I don't know how else to explain it except it just works. It looks like that, and then we're adding hex nuts in here. I've already done that. I slid those in on the initial build last week, so those are there. We just put some screws through to hold things in. Top frame I've already done, and then we can move on to X-rail. So like that's probably one of the more simpler designs that I've seen through building a lot. All right, we got 20 votes on the poll. So if you haven't voted on the poll, if we should do another stream this week, go ahead and do so. That way I have a good idea if it's worth our time to meet and do this. So let me know. I'm going to close it here in about 10 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes. Let me grab those parts. We'll bring you over here. So in my kit, I got 2 rails, or 2 rods. I'm used to rails. I've got 2 rods. These are 12mm hard steel chrome plated rods. Let's make sure they're the right length. They should be 400 according to the manual. Now my build is a little bit smaller. I think the Gantry is the same though. Yeah, so those are 400. That's exactly what they should be. Still on the fence which hot end to use. Have no experience with the hot ends. The tool head is designed around. So the tool head has several options, Havoc. You can use, I think, a Dragon. There's a Rapido. There's a Revo. There are several. So if you want something else, or you are more familiar with a different hot end, we could probably work something out to get you what you need. I know for sure there are several different options on the GitHub that you can use. I want to say there, yeah, so Rapido, Revo definitely stick out in my mind. There are a couple of more. I just don't remember what they are off the top of my head. I am not using any of those. If you're worried about it, I would recommend a Revo. Or sorry, not a Revo, a Rapido. The Rapido 2 is really good. It's got a pretty high flow rate. It's pretty compact. It's sort of affordable. It's going to cost you about $100, but that's just the breaks, man. Unless you're running anything but a see you, Robert. Before you leave, sub and like if you haven't, sir. I'd appreciate it. Look for my trash can. There we go. I need to put some grease in here too. Happy, now that number 2 is leaving, tell me how you really feel about your favorite customer. I'm joking, Robert. I'm joking. But yeah, your Rapido 2 is kind of the go-to. It's easily gotten from a lot of different places. You can put it on a lot of different tool heads. I don't want to say it's standard, but it's got enough support in the way that the V6 used to have, meaning a lot of different tool heads will accept a Rapido. A lot of them will really give you some cooling options to cool a Rapido, etc., etc. So I think you'll be happy with it if you have one of those. A Revo is fine. It's not gonna flow the way that you want it to flow. It's gonna be capped at about 13, 14. Funny boy, yeah. Thanks for subbing, Wind Farms. I haven't seen you here on the stream before. Give us your story. Who are you? Are you a builder? Are you a printer owner? Like, what brings you to the stream today? Need to find some grease. That's what I'm looking for. Grease. I've got oil. That's not what we want here. I've got, so what I use, right? I've got the oil, and this is what I'll use for my Z axis. So I'll put these on my screws, and that seems to kind of work to just quiet things down. But really what I like to use is this here. This is grease. It'll stick around a little while. It doesn't just run to the bottom of your machine over time. So if I'm trying to prevent things from rusting, I will put this on my rails to just give it a light coating. It's very thin, and just kind of wipe it on and put a very thin coating. This is what you want to put inside the ball bearings of your linear rails because it kind of sticks around. And then also put this inside of your lead screws because it'll hold on to that and not really fall off and create a puddle of oil in the bottom of your machine. Put in the Jabberwocky on the Duender. Nice. And another undisclosed printer. Way to be mysterious, Captain Kern. Thanks for the sub, Wind Farms. If I haven't already said that, I'm just getting multiple notifications that you have done so. So thank you twice. Havoc, high flow, high temp modules of the, yeah, so those things, all it's going to be able to do is get up to a higher temperature. It's not going to unlock increased flow rate unless your nozzle is able to do so. So the problem with it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Let me choose my words carefully. The thing you need to be aware of with the Revo is that the nozzle itself is not a high flow nozzle. And even if you got the high flow versions, you're talking about going from roughly 13-ish cubic millimeters per second to, I want to say, maybe around 18, 19-ish. And that's fine. Like, again, it's a V6 replacement, a V6 update. I'm gonna use a zip tie to like put this grease down in there. And that's fine because most of the time that's what you're gonna want. You're just gonna want something that works, something reliable, and the Revo is definitely that. With a machine like this, it is sort of geared towards higher speeds and quality. Hence the reason for the all-wheel drive. If I'm putting 4 motors on my Gantry, obviously I'm targeting more speed, more capability, because I'm shortening my belt path, whatever. You want to have a hot end that can do the same. Otherwise, like, you'll probably be good with a 2-wheel drive and a Revo. So it depends on what you want. The Revo is also a little pricey. You're most of the way to the cost of a Revo, or sorry, a Rapido at that. So why not just go Rapido? Yeah, your sticker came in. I got them last night, Reth. So I put you right there, right next to so Spirit Animal Reth, Spirit Animal Jason, Spirit Animal Doc Mercy. Doc Mercy got me my stickers yesterday too. So yesterday was sticker day. Reth, check this out. I need to reciprocate and send you new stickers. These came in last night. These are the new Killer Prince stickers. Slightly redesigned by Doc Mercy and holographic. So same spirit, not a huge change, but enough of a change to update it. My other logo was about, 5-6 years old. So just an iteration on the classic design. I'll send you some. Built several printers. Curious about the build. All right. Wind farms, if you do have questions, just ask. I'll give you the highlights though. This is called the Inertia³. It's a relatively new project from the Boron Modders, kind of the team lead, I guess. And there's other folks on the team that have definitely contributed and helped out and things like that. So I don't want to, cheat them out of their time in the sun. But it's a small group of folks that kind of put this together. It uses 4 XY motors, 2 on X, 2 on Y, to sort of cut the belt path in half, unlocking what could potentially be higher speed, more accuracy, that sort of thing. And then really the main difference is what we're doing right now is the Y-axis. It uses linear rods like you would find on older style machines. If you're familiar with the Voron ecosystem, it'd be like the Voron Legacy a little bit, except these are 10mm rails with, 12mm rails with 12mm linear bearings. And then they have their own tool head design and their own extruder design as well. It's also built with a 30-30 frame. That's the other big thing. So it should be more beefy and capable of higher belt tension, higher speed, that sort of thing. We'll find out, but that's kind of the idea behind it. They do have a GitHub and all that kind of stuff, so if you're interested, the information is out there. Kits are on the way soon, but the idea is that LDO will supply kits in the relatively near future, whatever that means. Okay. So I was able to get my hands on one early, and that's why we're building. It's also you're also able to self-source if you need it. Let's turn the instructions back. All right, so I am just putting bearings onto the rods. Let's make sure these are the right side up. It does not matter. However, I do like the logos on these things to be the right way up. So I'm gonna do one that way. being careful when I slide that on there. I'm always nervous to insert linear rods or rails so that I don't knock any ball bearings out. Small chance with these linear bearings. Very small chance. But you never know. Shrimp Daddy. That's still funny to me. I still laugh about that. Okay, so these ones with the these are your end caps. You have the front left and right rod top mounts is what they're called. You have these ones that are more triangular tipped, and then you have other ones that are squared off. The ones that are squared off go at the rear, and then with the cutout should go towards the inside of your printer. So I'm going to do mine like that. These are two-piece. I just have them set up. And then the ones with the point, also, you want the point going towards the inside of the printer with your gap here. So this one would be that way and go like this. And so there would be my printer left setup. And this one would be my printer right setup. So, and like so. And this, again, flip it over to make sure your gap here is towards the inside of the machine. Actually, rear left, is that right? Yeah, that's correct. The manual is a little backwards from how I have it on the desk. Or shall I say, I have it backwards on the desk compared to the manual, but this is the idea. And then once we get these in, I'll zoom in so you can see what I mean. See this small gap on the square block? This is the rear of the printer. This is the rear of the printer here. So the rear A and B motor mounts. This is the A side, so the right-hand side. Small gap in the block goes towards the interior of the printer. And then moving this forward over here, you can see the sort of pointy arrow portion of that front rod block will go to the interior. So just make sure you have that set up that way. I don't know that it will work the other way around, so just install like the photo set. The gap does appear to be for the motor wires. Yes, I agree with you on that one. And then because I'm me, make sure that your logos on your bearings are facing the right way around. Starting with this, need to sort of turn this a little bit. Starting with the printer right side. So it'd be right side as you're looking at it. So that would be this side. This over here would be the left side. I'm making sure we have our gap to the inside. Gap to the inside with the pointy tip to the inside for the front. And those just kind of slide in. This makes servicing this bearing and greasing this, if you ever need to, super convenient. Because now I just undo the top 2 bolts here, the top 2 bolts here, and then I can pull this entire assembly out. Obviously, I would need to release the joiner for the X gantry, but that is super serviceable to be able to get in there and lube that when and if you need to. That's that one. And then we're going to do the same on the other side with the other rod, making sure that our bearing is aligned rear into the rear, making sure our small gap is towards the inside of the printer, and make sure our bearing's smooth on the rod. And it should be. I cleaned these last night and we greased them just so they feel great. Okay, zoom back out. Finished product should look like that. Ours does, although it's a different color. Now we come in with the hex nuts. Again, I've already put the hex nuts. Into the motor mounts here, so those already exist. And I just need to put the what are they, M5 by 40s through the top rail here. So let's get some of those out. M5 by 40s. Turns out I just, for whatever reason, I have a ton of these. I got them for a different project. I don't remember what the project is, but I got them for a a different project, and I have a ton left over. Because you can't buy them. Yeah, here we go. You can't buy them in, you know, 2 or 3. So I think I bought 50 of these things. And I've been waiting to use them. Also, I have these that are, they look like titanium. They're like a slightly darker gray compared to these. I'm not sure where I got these from, but I know that I ordered these. And these slightly, let's say, lighter weight ones, they feel lighter. All 3 of these feel lighter than this one. So that kind of tells me, based on color and weight, that these are probably titanium. I don't know why I have them. If I end up using these, I'm going to use them in the X Gantry, though, to keep that a little lighter. I'm going to use normal steel heavy ones for this portion because it doesn't move, so the mass doesn't matter. And trying to get all of these holes, so you get a hole, holes through all these parts, all the way down to where my my M5 nuts are. Gotta make sure everything's aligned. So I'm just loosening that one up. There we go. All the way down through. And we'll do the same here. All the way down through. And I assume that we're going to go around and tighten everything up at the end to really kind of pull it all together and make sure it's tight. I left the ones in the back a little loose as well. So we'll have to go through the whole gantry to make sure things are good. By the way, I'm going to close the poll. So if you have not selected what day you would like to go, too late. Closing the poll. Closing the poll. Come on. I've got Wednesday evening at 48%. Is what it looks like. Yep. So we're looking at 47% of you want Wednesday evening. 38 say Thursday, and then 14% of you hate 3D printing. I think I'm more surprised about that one. 14% of you are no fun at all. But you participated in the poll, which is pretty funny. Thanks to the 21 that voted. Looks like we're gonna go on Wednesday, which is my preference, if I'm honest. Lee Marie does Tuesdays, so I didn't want to do that and did not want to overlap with them. Thursday's a little later in the week. Would have worked for sure, but I think my preference was Wednesday as well. I'm just tightening that down a little there, get it snug, and then I'll back it off to loosen it out. Just want to make sure it can tighten down and we're reaching all the way through, and it looks like we are. You don't need to go really tight. Everything is sandwiching together here, and because of that, it's really rigid. That's not coming out of there whatsoever. And because we need to adjust it, I'm going to loosen that back up. I wanted to make sure that we could tighten things down and get what we need. So just gave that a few back turns, and then I'll do the same up here. Probably have to loosen this one with the right tool. So you can put your hardware through. Again, I think I've said this multiple times on stream already, but I'm trying my best to use hardware that I already have. I don't want to buy anything new. I have enough crap already in stock. I don't know if you guys saw that on camera, but the whole thing jumped out. Where did that come from? Oh, it's in the bottom, that's why. So these lower brackets here, the M5s just sort of press fit into the bottom of the part. They're not captive like they are in these rear parts. You hate that you have too many hobbies that require money. This is my only money grubbing hobby. My other hobby is fitness, and that is just going to the gym. So there's really no cost involved unless unless you pay for a gym membership and you do all the supplements and stuff. I do not. I take protein and that's it. I just prefer a smaller breakfast. I don't do the eggs and bacon and pancakes and all that stuff. So a shake for breakfast is my go-to. But outside of that, nope. Running is free. Going to the gym is free for me. If you do want a membership, I guess that's an expense, but it's a much more affordable hobby and good and better for you in a lot of ways than this hobby. Highly recommended if you're into if you're looking for a hobby that's almost free. All right, so again, giving that a few turns backwards to loosen things up for adjustment when we need to. Do the same on this side. Yeah, on my initial go, getting these screws down in there, it just won't happen. So, and that's because we tightened down these top blocks here. So just loosening that should allow things to kind of fall in place like that. Then we'll do 2 more up here while I'm thinking about it. Taking this one a little bit. Come on. I don't know why, but this first one, on both sides, I've had to sort of screw these in. They won't just drop in on the parts. I want to say that's because of the error that we had in the slicer. A reminder for folks who weren't here, one of the things in the slicer adjusts the way your parts are printed. The setting is called auto adjust contour circle or something like that. And so what it did, and why we got boned, is what it did on these tensioners is when you're trying to put pins in there that are supposed to be press fit, it auto adjusts the size of your holes to make the pins slip fit, which is not what you want. So make sure that auto contour circle setting in Bamboo Slicer or Bamboo Studio is not selected, because it will make your parts holes too big. Big holes, never a good thing. And so these pins here, these screws here will not slide through the parts. You have to screw them through. But the upper parts, the little brackets, I did print with that setting on so that it would be just sort of a drop fit through the hole. And it's a good setting for that. But if you need your holes to be press fit, do not select that setting. It will piss you off and take you a little bit to figure it out. Press these all the way back. All right. Join the military, get a free gym. You're not wrong. Part of my job is to be fit. So if it is a requirement for work, they should provide a resource for me to meet that requirement. That's kind of the thought process. It would be like your job being like, hey, you need a computer to do work stuff, but we are not going to give you a computer. You'd be like, what the hell? It's like you have to buy your own to work here. That would not be, that's not good. So Reth, I have the H2D. The H2D doesn't accept Orca. And so when I'm printing on my X1 Carbon, I do use Orca, and it works fine. But you have that extra step now. Like if you update your firmware to the newest on the X1 Carbon, it makes Orca Slicer not work. So now you have to use Bamboo Connect. So you slice in Orca, send it over to Bamboo Connect, and then Bamboo Connect sends it over to the printer. So it's this extra step. You have to export everything, upload it into Connect, and then you have to do that for each plate. You can't upload multiple plates. You can't upload in the background to store on the SD card and then print from SD card. It's sort of a pain. So I've kind of gone back to Bamboo Studio for the X1 Carbon and the H2D. H2D is not supported anyway in Orca, and that's kind of my main printer right now. So that's why. But for the rat rig, yes, I use Orca. For the Delta, I use Orca. For some of the other ones over there, all my Vorons, I'll use Orca. Woke up late today. Good morning, Jeremy. Too old for the military and migraines disqualify me. Did not want to be 400 pounds any longer, so you lost 2. Nice. Congratulations, Havoc. 200 pounds. Dude, you and I, so I'm 170 pounds. You're not too much heavier than I am. So congratulations, man. That's awesome to hear. All right, so we've done all this stuff. Top panels on, or sorry, top rails are on. We've got X Gantry. I've already kind of prepped that. Show you over here. I've already prepped it. I've got the rail on. It's this way, so it's not upside down. Make sure your logos are good, or your printer. You're gonna lose like 5% on performance if your labels are upside down. So we've done that, and over here we've got it mounted on the rail. Mine is a 390. That is something that I checked after last week's debacle. Is that my rail is the appropriate length, and it is. So just double checking here with the ruler. Mine is 380 because I have a beta kit. My X Gantry is a touch smaller, so 380 makes sense instead of 390. Going to this, we've already put inserts into the parts. Next thing we need to do is build the parts. So we'll take you over to the desk. This is ours here, and what I was saying with the oil versus the grease. So use the oil to prevent your rails from rusting. I know that they're stainless steel, but you can get rust spots on here or oxidation on here over time. Use the thicker stuff, this synthetic grease, for the inside of your linear blocks with the ball bearings. These ones actually had grease ports, so I just squirted grease to the grease ports, and what I use for that specifically, I can't get to it right now, sorry, is EP2. But in a pinch, you could use something like this. So I have several options, and as we drop things all over everywhere, we'll get it back to where it is. Okay, so that's our rail. Looks like we can set that aside. We need these bits here to build stuff. I've already got heat sets in. I did a little multicolor on these parts. You could do that with a simple nozzle swap. In Orca, you can set to print colors first. So what I would do is print first your purple, and then you would have to manually swap and purge and go over to your blue color, and then you could print the rest. But the downside is you only have one layer of the purple unless you have a multicolor machine. So there are those, and there are those that way. Building up first, looks like this guy here is part number 1. We'll do that. I've already sanded down these pins. It's raining. Keely, you got to come out here, man. It's about to be 98 today. It's already pretty warm in the garage. It is already 74 at 8:13 in the morning. And it was so nice. I had the garage door open. I had the side door open, just really aerating through this place. It was a nice 68 degrees in the morning. And we'll have that throughout the summer. We'll have about 68 in the morning. And then it'll get hot in the day up to, 100, 110 when we get deep into the summer, which is a little too hot. But anyway, one of these pins, I've sanded these down quite a bit and then polished them up as best as I could. One goes here in this hole, one goes here in this hole, and these are friction fit. So if your pins fall out, they are too loose, you probably need to adjust your hole sizing, maybe your line width, or tune your printer a little bit to get some nice dimensions. And then the other one here should go like that, and they should be flush with the bottom of your part. So what I do, put it on my desk, like the hard part of my desk instead of the rubber part, and that makes sure that things are flush on the bottom. So those go there. And then like we did before, we've got our 20-tooth gates idler. Make sure that these are gates. This diameter on the flange absolutely matters, okay? It absolutely matters. If they're too big, the parts don't work. Ask me how I know. And then I need to find all of our stuff from last week. Where did those go? Right here. Bring out the toolkit of parts. So these are all spare parts and stuff and things. Just looking at houses in Florida, don't recommend Florida. Ask Kitchell. 110 is hot, 75, 85. We have 75 to 85 kilo from like 8 in the morning to like maybe noon, 1 o'clock. And then it continues to climb. And then as soon as the sun goes down, it cools down rapidly as well. We've actually been out on the back patio almost every night this week, sitting on the swing, watching the kids play in our 50 square feet of grass that we have back there. All right, I like brass shims, so do brass shim. Forgot what I did with all of my bearings and stuff I had last week. I think they are these here. Yep. I don't have any of those cool ceramic bearings, but these are supposed to be the good ones. I had some blue ones as well. What did I do with my blue ones? I think I might have put those in the tool chest. One second. What did I do with them? I love it when I have so much stuff. There they are. They're sitting right next to the machine. I'm just blind. So I got these blue ones. I thought they were going to be labeled in quality or whatever, but they're just random generic ones. I don't know that blue really matters, so that's a thing. But you could use the fancy ceramic ones. I think West 3D and Fabrico both have ceramic bearings. Whoever your preferred reseller is. Oh, now you're gonna mess with me. Look at that. So like all of these pins were correct, and now this one for whatever reason is super freaking tight, and it is touching on my idler here. So idler comes out. I guess you have to put your bearings on first. This one doesn't want to go. If we can do something about that. Let's try it from the other end. Sort of jammed on the... Yeah, I know, right? Uh-oh. I thought you said you had already had print time in a stream yesterday. Print time? Oh, yeah, I was... Steven, that was my other Inertia. That was the other beta over there. This is the stream Inertia. This is the one we're building together. Need a tool to get this off of here. Just gonna hold that with the parallel jaws and just pull that off. Yeah, only 2 weeks. It hasn't been running too long. Only 2 weeks. All right. So that looks like it works. We'll redo. I think I had like one side that I did not sand all the way because I wanted it to be tight inside the part, and then I sanded from the other end, and I just had the pin upside down, just like that bearing. So shim, bearing, very tight. Bearing, and then second bearing, and shim. And then we can put these on. And that's because, if you look closely here, the flange on the idler is over top of the flange on the bearing stack. And so these bearing stacks need to happen first, or you're not going to get this one on. Also, it's mandatory that you drop it every 5 seconds. Keela called me out. She didn't call me out. That was Steven Machado called me out. Jeremy says anything Keela says he's probably razzing. I wouldn't say everything. I mean, I did say that Jeremy had gonads. So if I'm razzing, I don't know, but I was told that Jeremy had gonads. That's that. And then we need a screw, small one like this, and this can go through the bottom. I don't know, Jeremy. I feel like you're razzing me. I mean, if everything I say is not true, and I say that Jeremy has gonads, just saying. All right, we got the next part here. Not that guy, this guy. So, looking at it from the top, you should have this long part on the left. This would be its mirror image. Do not want this one. Want to keep this one here. We're gonna do 2 M5x8s to the top with 2020 T-nuts on the bottom, not 2030, like I made the mistake right there. Luckily, I've got 2020 T-nuts close by in the spares kit. Nick, good morning. Never know whether that's true or not. Keela, we've had plenty of time, Jeremy and I, without you. You don't know what I know. Jeremy is a different person when you're not around. That way, and we'll do it. Again, using the hardware that I have, I think I have some M5, something else over here. Yeah, I've got these silver ones. I'll probably use the silver ones, especially on this top portion, because I think they look better. Got a few extras in here, actually. We'll use that. Very special. All right, so one of those is a 6. That's way too short. What am I doing? Like, oh, I guess it wasn't a 6. I don't know. Maybe this is a 10. Maybe that's where I'm messing up. Yeah, these M5x8s are very short. I think I would prefer 10s if you have them available. You're gonna get like 1 or 2 threads on this T-nut before it starts to get tight, so keep that in mind. 10s might be a little better. I think they still fit inside of a 2020 rail without bottoming out. Gotta watch my head on the camera there, sorry folks. So something like that. And then we've got our other one here, like so. Okay, so that should be our pair. And then things go together. So we've got our original one, and it uses an M5x30. This one sort of goes on the top this way. Turn it around the correct way. Your pins are going to go through holes. And that's tight. By design. There it goes. This is where the parallel jaw pliers come in. Why I was happy that these arrived during the week. I'm just going to go over top of where the pin is and see if I can reach. I feel like I dropped something. I heard something fly. I'm just going to add a little pressure to these. Pull them into place. Yeah, I'm dropping T-nuts. Again, there's only a couple of threads on there, so they don't like to stay on. Going right over top of where the pins are on the part and seeing if I can just sort of add pressure to help me get those pins into where they need to be. And the bottom sort of pushed out of that one. That happens to you. I just use the hard surface of the desk, put my body weight on there, push it back in so those pins are flush with the bottom of that part. Like that. Yeah, some of these holes in the parts are tighter than others. And it's taking like my full weight to get those pins to the top of that. I lost both T-nuts off of there. We'll add both of those back on. I think what I might do is just use roll-ins. I have some roll-ins in here, and we could put that inside of the gantry. That may be a better option anyway, just because trying to do all that, they could sort of fall out or whatever. I don't know. Last time we tried that though, we got a little bit burned because the roll-ins were too close together and we didn't have enough space to put them in there. So look at my big hands. Come on. Just hold that, see if we can tighten it. Alright, so there is one built. Need to do an M5 by 30 through this hole here. Luckily, we have some of those in the spares kit. Measure that out, make sure that's 30. It is. Hey, Jose, good morning. That's what she said. So I'm trying to keep up with you guys. You're moving way quicker than I am. So M5 by 30 goes through, and then we do a nut on the bottom. And I'm sure I've got some of those around. Maybe not in the... There we go. We got silver and black in the spares. Press it. And let's give like 1 or 2 threads of that M5 through there. Probably going to need a little bit of clearance to slide things through, so I don't want to super tighten things down yet. There's one. And then it has us build the second one. So now that we've already done this, and I already know what to look out for, I'm going to make sure that our bearings fit on the correct end of the pins. Some I sanded more than others. So probably use that guy here for our bearings. Ooh, that's on there tight. That's good. That's what we want. It's supposed to be tight. I'm gonna use the tool, press that into place. Make sure it's flush on the bottom. And then look for some spacers. I know I had more brass. What did I do with those? I guess I'm full of it. Maybe I don't have more brass ones. Either way, we have regular shims. They're supposed to be 1 millimeter anyway, and I've got a bag full of those. They're just a little larger in outside diameter than the brass ones I was using. So I do have a couple of smaller. They're not brass, steel, but they are smaller diameter ones. Put that on like so. That's the wrong side. Whatever. We're doing it upside down. Come on. All right. This part. Losing my brain today. So this part here, like that. Yeah, spacers. It's a thing. 1 millimeter spacers. So I'm gonna bam this with the wrong tool, but that's what we got. These holes are very tight. So bear with me as I go off camera a bit to press this in. There's a lot of plastic to get through, so you can see it's got to come through all of this plastic to be flush with the bottom. If that hole is tight like mine are, you're gonna have to use some percussive persuasion to make that happen. So rather than blow your eardrums out with loud noises, I'm gonna mute you for just a second. Enjoy the music. There we go. Not the right tool, but a tool, and it worked. All right. Spacer. I'm wondering too if this, because in the last one we talked about the idler being overlapping with the, what's it called? The flange bearing. And because that's a thing, opposite of the last one we built, we probably want to put this idler on first. And I'm just checking to see which side it wants to go on. It looks like it wants to go on that side there. So I'm going to do that. Press that in there with the tool. That. Now we're flush. Lost my spacer. That's okay. Spacer, yep. So that's exactly right. The flange of this idler overlaps the flange of the tooth idler. So I definitely want to, you can see that there. I definitely want to put the tooth idler on first. Don't forget infill. No, I definitely did not. I used 40%, I think. That's the Voron standard, so that's what I used. I almost thought that maybe I increased it a little bit, but that was for something else. And then spacer here. Should be pretty close. Spacer, flange, spacer. Idler bearings there. Here is a 2020 T-nut and an M5 by 8. We'll do that. These are 10s. I'll use the 10. It just feels a little better. Like there's more thread to grip onto with the T-nuts. Like that. And then moving on to the top half. Is what they, oh, there's also the, yeah. So I forgot. There's the in stop. There's a bumper that we have to put on this bottom piece. This is for the right XY joiner only. Good morning, Steve. We're getting down to gantry parts. So this one kind of goes like that. This way, this way, yes. Okay. So if I'm looking at this from the front, on the right side, this bump stop goes here like that. And this allows us to have something to trigger the Y-in stop. Once you have that going, then you put your M5 through there. They call for an M8. I think an M8 may be too short. That's an M10 I just put in there, and you can see how much is sticking out. Is not very much. I really would recommend a M5 by 10 for that. So, I mean, you could do what you want, but that's what I'm gonna do. So that one there, and then there's an M3 that goes through the bottom of the bump stop here and comes into the heat insert that we have there. That should be an M3 by 8. Got several of those all around, pulling from the kit. Put that in there, and let's see if we can make that grab. Lost a spacer. I'm trying to hold things with all of my fingers so I don't lose spacers and bearings and everything else as I'm twisting this all around. So I don't know that the 8 is working. I don't know that that's long enough. It might barely be long enough. There we go. Yeah, so the 8 does work. You could get away with a 10. There's still some thread left inside the heat insert that you could use. So if you put a 10 in there, you'd be all right. It doesn't stick out above, I don't think. It definitely does not with the 8. I'm only grabbing like 3 threads. So there we go. That is the bottom. Moving on, we have my mouse. got the top piece here, and it's calling for more of those M8s. Last two silver ones will go here. We'll put some T-nuts on the bottom. These need to be 2020 like before, because that's what your gantry is. Steve, we're almost done with the build. We'll be printing by, you know, end of the day. Not true. Not on this one, at least. Right, that goes there. Flip this over. That is the top. And then I think, like before, you put your M5 by 30 through there. Just grab another silver one. Make sure it is the right length. And it is. All right, screw goes through the top after we mash this together. So just like before, tops go together. These two holes here go to your pins here. Just line those up. They're going to be tight. You got a lot of plastic to get through. So we may use percussion to get things where they need to be. Because on mine, it's trying to push out one of the pins. You see this pin here sort of came out. We need to make sure that goes back into the part and not stick out the bottom. That's not how it's supposed to go. That's where your parallel jaw pliers come into play. I go all the way out as far as I can, and then that'll allow me to grab the part. Okay, so we'll adjust down just notches. That works. And be careful, it is plastic. These are perfect for this job. If you don't have some of these, I highly recommend getting them. You really don't need the Knipex. Those are the very nice ones. They're gonna make you feel good. They look good. Kind of like that new girlfriend. It's gonna make you look good, make you feel good. But if Old Faithful works, go with Old Faithful. And these are half price. If you haven't seen it in the start, when we started the stream, it's called Toolant. Toolant. I want to say they were like 25 bucks. The name brand ones are going to cost you double that. So it's your money. Yeah. Now we're able to get that pin back flush on the bottom of the part, and both parts press together as they should. Okay. And we didn't damage anything. We didn't mar anything. And because these jaws move together flat, I'm not gonna scrape it or really tear it up in any way. 30 millimeter long M5 goes in. Oh no! Those little dividers in the plastic bins get annoying. I always catch my fingers on them and like pull it out, and then my screws mix together. I should just like put some super glue on there and glue the gates in place. Pressing that in, and then a couple of threads to pull the nut into place. Nice analogy. I'm full of analogies, Reth. That's the only way my brain works. I have to relate things to other things that make sense to me, or I don't like keep it for the long term. I don't keep information for the long term. So most things actually I relate to cars or vehicles or engines, because that was my first love. I did auto tech in high school, and my dad owned a dealership, and I thought that I was going to be an auto mechanic when I was looking for my first job. It turned out not to be true. I was told verbatim, not my words. This was my recruiter's words. Guy told me, you're too smart for those jobs. All the dumb people took them. You should go fly airplanes. And I said, okay, you know more than I do. And that's how I started flying airplanes. Again, not my words, his words. Right. So we did that, and I've got that bumper on there. So my part looks like this. Get some water, starting to warm up. It's already 80 degrees. Now we should have two XY joints, and we do. I can see two on the desk. they slide into the rail, leave slightly loose to allow adjustment at a later step. Yes, I agree with that. Slide that on. It doesn't show it in the picture, but you should have your linear block on there. If it has fallen off and landed on the floor, you're about to have a bad time, because it's not going to work anymore. Probably going to lose some bearings. Just recommend buying a new block. Your block should be on the rail. So we'll do that. Still moves pretty well. I can feel that thick grease in there. This doesn't slide. It kind of stops. That's what you want. If it is just falling when you tip up the rail like that, your rail probably is too loose and not what you want. Reth could probably attest to this if he's still around, but you're going to see some input shaping anomalies if your linear block is wobbly, and you're going to go through, you know, tightening all your screws. You're going to check your belts, all the things, and it's actually going to be at the very base of your build on your linear block. This is a Z1 preload, and it's got some pretty thick grease, so it's got minimal. It has zero perceptible wiggle, but minimal if you probably measure it against input shaping. Don't want to fly in a plane that a dumb mechanic worked on. They're not dumb. They know what they're doing, but there's like just different levels of aptitude that you have to do certain things. So like, for example, you can be really good at math, but not great at problem solving, and not great at being the one person responsible for the entire operation. Not everybody's comfortable doing that stuff. And if that's you, it's not that you're dumb, it's just that is not your strong suit. And the way that the Air Force chooses who gets to do what is based on all of those factors. So certain jobs don't need independence, and other jobs need problem solving, and etc., etc. Flying operations is one of those. You have to be able to problem solve, critically think quickly, and not be hesitant to act. I'll say it. So I've just got those on there snug to where I can shift it around. I'm just giving it like a half turn less to be sure, and I can shift that. I can feel that wiggling a little bit. That's what you want. We'll repeat on the other side here. If you have no spares after working on a plane, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, but I get to break airplanes. I don't fix them. That's what they pay other people to do. My job now is to get gas to wherever it needs to go in the world, and I get to refuel airplanes in flight. It's just one of those really, like when I first started doing it, it was amazing every time, right? It's like you see it on the internet, it's like, oh, that's great, those are great photos, like it looks so much fun, blah blah blah. But eventually, over time, like everything, it's a job, you know? Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's not fun. Sometimes it's hot and cold, or you're hungry, or you're tired. Like all of those things that you would experience at any other job, you experience in this job. But you can't just go home at the end of the day. Like, you keep going until it's done. So you have to say, screw your feelings, Ron. We're here to do stuff, and you do stuff. So that's where the work ethic and the very independent-minded personality come into play. Those things are super important in what we do. Anyway, looking down inside. So there's a small gap, and then there are 2 small lips on the printed parts themselves that that sort of prevent the rail from going all the way in. I'm just looking down inside there to make sure that my T-nuts rotate. And then I can also notice that that's kind of where your belts are going to go. I see some gaps in there for what looks like to me to be a belt path. So as long as I can move that and wiggle that a little bit, I'm probably good. Rail is the correct way around. So words facing up so you can read them. Repeating something over and over makes it a job. Not wrong. It also makes you a professional. So repeating something over and over, not a bad thing, but it does change your perspective from an experience to a lifestyle, I would say. Wouldn't change it. Don't hate my job at all. Actually think I have one of the better jobs out there. But it is work sometimes, and it's not always fun. Cool, back over to the toolbox. We'll add these covers on here. Absolutely make you great at it, yeah. Hey, Jeremy, you got here late. Let me show you this real quick. I got new stickers. We got new stickers. Same-ish logo, just a little bit updated here. Come on, camera. Build a frame. You can do it. I'm not gonna focus today. Focus. But yeah. Let's see you get some stickers. This came in last night. All right, for the rail piece here, shown on both the left and right side, the thinner of the 2 sides need to face inward. Okay. Towards the center of the printer. It's probably a little hard to tell. Excuse me. Probably a little hard to tell on the camera itself. But there is a thin side up here where the part is just printed a little thinner. Try to block out most of this camera so we can see this. Just doesn't want to focus today. Let me see if I can force it. We'll go to our, we'll go over here. Saw the picture of those first time you've seen them. Very cool. Yeah. Thanks, the Happy Extruder, for the sub. Appreciate it. So you have this thin side. It is just printed a little thinner. And then this one here, the distance top to bottom is thicker. The thicker side goes towards the outside. The thinner side goes towards the inside of the printer. And realize you have a top and a bottom. They are the same. You can get them backwards. Make sure you you do it this way. So thin side together, and then you're going to sandwich them this way. Okay. And that's what we're doing right now. I'm going to thin side to thin side here in the center, and I'm going to sort of sandwich them around the bearing like that. So super easy to get those things to mesh. And because I'm a little crazy, what I'm going to do is make sure I can see the bearing through there. Does not matter. Oh, here children. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. What you got for me? You got pants for me. I love it. Thanks, guys. You wanna say hi to folks on streams?
Hi.
Step over here. Look. Come over here. Say hi. So,
I can't see the camera.
this is my oldest.
Oh,
and then we'll get the little one up here. There's my little one. My little one. Wife's hiding over there. They got me my Father's Day gift, and they got me pants, pajama pants with their faces out. So yeah, we'll have to go put these on later. Thanks, guys. I can't put it. It's too hot right now. Yeah, I'm still going for like another hour. I know. I got you. It's fine. It's fine. We love you. Look at it. Everybody's saying hi to you guys. Everybody's saying hi to you guys. Wear 'em device. I'll try to wear 'em device. That's so funny. They're like, oh, we didn't know you were streaming. You didn't put the stream sign out. I was like, yeah, I forgot. Anyway. Bearing blocks are on. Yeah, I got pants. You give me yoga. Not yoga pants. I keep wanting to say yoga pants. Pajama pants. For Father's Day. They're getting on an airplane here in 2 days to go spend the summer with grandma. And we're doing Father's Day today, tomorrow. They're out of school. They just graduated on Friday. They're out of school. And so we're doing Father's Day today and tomorrow. And that is what they wanted to get me for Father's Day, was their faces on pajama pants. Just verifying that, again, that skinny side of the part is going to the inside of the printer, and that really locks onto the bearing there. Yeah, they're cute. Little killers, yeah. But yes, Steven Machado, Father's Day is next week, Sunday, the 15th. My kids are leaving on Tuesday, so we are celebrating now. Hey, Clown Hammer, thanks for being here. I didn't see that you had popped in. Hey, Jason. Cool. So now I want to say that we're just kind of sliding the gantry on, right? Like, that's the logical next step in this thing. We've done the blocks. We've took note of the thinner walls. And yeah, so the gantry just kind of goes on over the bearings. And then what do we use for hardware? M3x25s through the tops. And then on, let's see, so we do both. And then we go around the rear of the gantry, tighten all the stuff down, both left and right. That's how we're going to square it up. And then we move on to motors. So I guess we don't secure. Oh no, there are. I'm wrong. On the gantry parts, we put the heat insets in the parts. That's cool. That's what we'll do. All right. Oh, you're on mobile. Okay, Clown Hammer. Appreciate you popping in. It's always good to see familiar faces. I like, you know, having a face to go with a name, like talking to folks that I've met before or see quite often on other streams and stuff like that. It's always fun to have the same people around. Okay. So another reason that I put the words on the bearing facing up and viewable is so that I know if it gets rotated the wrong way and the wrong side of the part is up. So by having a frame of reference, it prevents making stupid mistakes. The labels on the bearings are only on one side, on the bearings I'm using at least. And so I know that if I can't see the bearings facing up, that my bearings are rotated. And they called it out in the manual that the thin side should be inside. I like that. That rhymes. Thin side to the inside. So it must be important, right? Or they wouldn't call it out. I'm gonna get some silver hardware. I need some M3x25. What did I do with those? Here we go. Breaking out the hardware bin. I want silver, that way things just kind of match. These are 35s. I don't know that I have many 25s left. Mark the internal bearing track to be at an X or A+. I'm not sure what you mean there, Steven. This is Shax on Discord. Oh, Shax, Jason, got you. Thanks for the connection, man. Different names on different platforms They throw me off. Looking for some M5 hardware here. Steven, I don't understand your question. Maybe you can rephrase and I'll be able to answer you. I don't know what you're asking me. Some of my hardware got mixed, and so I'm just verifying that we all have some. I need 8 M3 by 25s. There's 4. That's a 22, which is an oddball size. Don't see many M3 by 22s out there. I need to put these stickers somewhere. I keep moving them around, and they just keep getting in the way. 20. I think I might have just enough 25s left over. Let's see. That's a 20. I am short 1 right now. And that's a 22, which is an oddball size. I wonder if a 25 got moved around somewhere else. I'm just kind of staring at it because I know I can sort of tell just by looking. I've got some other 25s in this case over here, but they are black. I wanted all silver. If we got to go with a black one, that's fine with me. I'm not going to order different hardware just to satisfy one screw. Yeah, I think we might have to. I don't have any other hardware around. So we'll use 1 token black screw. Like that. And that is a... Oh. Need to print a screw size. I do, Jax. You're not wrong. I should have done that long ago, if I'm honest. I need a screw sizer. Normally they don't get mixed up. I have those plastic trays, and the dividers that come in them are not secure. And so sometimes they lift up or they get shuffled in a way that causes screws to kind of fall under the bottom, and then they end up getting mixed. And then also, I build so many machines that there's always extra hardware and stuff like that. I just kind of put it in where I feel like they should go. So I end up with sort of mixed hardware sometimes. It's usually not an issue. But you're not wrong, I need a screw sizer. Mismatch of colors going on, yeah. Well, like what? Are you talking like a patchwork style? So you're using just whatever ABS you got? I thought about it on this build. I thought about doing just whatever colors I could find. So I was going to do some blue, some red, some yellow, green, maybe some orange in here. And just mix up everything and call it patches. But I shied away. I just went with what I knew. Something I thought looked good. Dividers, yeah, dividers are trash. Spent a month printing out Gridfinity. I did it for, so what this printer is sitting on is a granite slab. You can kind of see it back here a little bit. And then this granite slab is sitting on top of a Husky toolbox. I have done Gridfinity through all of it except for the really deep bottom drawer and the one drawer above it, because that's where I have tools and extra parts. Gridfinity is all throughout. So the very top drawer, I have Gridfinity for all my tools. So everything from, I don't know, you can see it on camera, maybe a little bit. So you've got like, you can kind of barely see it down here, but I've got strippers and pliers and things here. I've got over on this side are like hex drivers and things. Over there are like stock for the heat shrink tape and stuff like that. And then down below I've got some, but I haven't done it for my hardware. The hardware I have a lot. of different sizes and whatnot. And for me, it's not user friendly to have grid affinity bins for every size screw, nut, and bolt that I would normally use. I find it annoying to have to remove each and every bin for every bit of hardware that I would want to use. And so I chose not to do my hardware in grid. Somehow I got a short screw. I need to use another 25. Post a picture of grid affinity. Yeah, I wish you could too. I would love to see it. You could post it if you want to put it in the Discord channel. Oh, that's why, because I didn't put a freaking heat insert in there. That's stupid. So I did a dumb. In this one, I missed a heat insert somehow, and I only put 3 in there. So I need to go back and put another heat insert in here. I'll do that later. 3 of them have it. That's enough to get things square with the gantry, and I can just add another one off stream and tighten that 4th screw down. It'll be fun. What is next? So those are in. We've got the screws in, minus the one that we forgot. So move the x-axis to the rear of the gantry, tighten down the highlighted bolts on the right side. Repeat this process for the left side. Okay. I'm gonna tilt the machine around. We'll push this. Push that there. Thought I cracked the skirt. And we need a smaller tool. I'm gonna use the small Allen key here. We're pushing everything to the rear, and then it wants us to tighten the gantry stuff. We'll do that. A little tension on there. That one. Here somehow. Tension. That's that. And now I'll tighten down the ones that actually do have heat inserts. We're tightening in the plastic, guys. Don't crank on it. Just turn it till it stops. After you run your printer for 100, 150 hours, you're gonna have to go back and tighten things again anyway. So just be gentle. That one. That one. The one underneath, don't forget that guy. I have forgotten that before and got boned. It's like, man, why is my gantry vibrating so much? I was running input shaper and trying to think through, like, is my gantry square? Is everything tight? And it's because I've forgotten one of the bottom M5s on the gantry. It was just loose. That one back there. So there's a lot of hardware. You're gonna make sure you're tightening down. Cool. So we do that, and then it said do the left side, I believe. So we do the left side, move the. Oh, dang. Yeah. Go back. Where was I? Here. Yeah. Repeat this process for the left side, and then we go to the front and tighten. Yes. Got it. So spin this around a little bit. There we go. We can actually see both of them now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull things tight, and then I think I can use this. No, that's too big. Where's my other one? There we go. Get more torque on it with this one. Hey, thanks, Shax. Yeah, I would love to see that, man. Like, organization and a really clean, just like a really clean printer build, a really clean workshop and organized workspace really tickles that part of my brain that feels good. So maybe we'll make a channel in there. So whenever I do launch my Discord server, we'll make a channel in there. We'll call it I don't know, OCD satisfaction or something. We got these other two here. Mod would make your head explode. Make my mind explode, baby. Give it to me, clown hammer. What do you got? Give me your best. Don't forget the bottom. And bottom of the gantry itself. Alright. That's everything there. I'm not seeing any racking, not really any movement. We'll go to the front. That moves very nicely. Spin this around for everybody and we'll take a look at the front. Hey, moving this 30-30 around is a lot easier than moving that rat rig. That thing, whew, give you a workout. Looks like that TV show. What TV show? The Marie Kondo thing or the Hoarders TV show? Mine right now is a mix of both, because what we do, yeah, Hoarders, that's what I was saying. What we do is I'll come out here and stream, and then I'll go back after stream, and while I'm reviewing the game tape, remember we talked about that, while I'm reviewing the game tape or checking out Steve's stream, I'm just wiping off some of this extra oil, extra grease here. Just getting it all over my hands. I'll be out here just organizing, tossing things away, sorting screws, whatever. I also tend to just post a bunch of stuff to Facebook at that time too, to get rid of, like just things that were in the garage that I don't use anymore or whatever. Tightening, so I forgot to do these ones here. Let's tighten these down. Tighten those a bit. Cool. Make sure we're still flush. And we are. Go to the front. We'll do the same thing. So putting tension on there to keep things square at the front. What am I hearing? I'm hearing like, thought I heard something crack on its own without me moving anything. Pull these to the front. Probably loosen this just a touch. Oh yeah, I am hearing cracking. I'm stupid. So what I did is these upper, this one here, I probably tightened that a little too much. It is cracking right across. So this vertical piece where it meets the horizontal piece, right across there. I probably did like 1/2 turn too much. I'm gonna loosen that. I'm seeing like the stress mark on there. If we need to go back and reprint that, that's pretty easy to do. In the meantime, it's gonna be fine. It's just more of a, I think, a beauty panel anyway. It'll be fine. All right, so those are on there, and again, we can tighten down. What does it want us to do? Damn, someone is cooking lighter fluid with their, what? Your neighbor's getting out of pocket? So we're just doing these front ones here on the gantry. Yeah, so according to the manual, it should just be these front two on the back side of this extrusion. That's because we have already squared our gantry with the rear, which is what we want. And then these front ones are just holding things together in a big sandwich. like that. So again, trying not to over tighten those because I made a dumb mistake on the rear. Got a little happy while I was talking. Surprised I don't even wear trucks. Yeah, Shax, it seems pretty simple. Yeah, I quite enjoy it. This is the first printer I've used the pins on for your idlers and your tooth idlers for your belt path. It's very simple. And then just sliding in the Y rails, they kind of come from the outside in and they slide in. Gantry also kind of slides in. I really like that. It's very satisfying and simple, and I'm not getting any racking on that gantry at all. I know that Kyle, the boron modder, had posted a video like yesterday, day before, pretty recent, talking about the reasons for the Y gantry being the way that it is. And one of his things that he said was that it is super easy to get no racking when you're building it, and that's exactly what I'm saying. That is my experience as well, is that there is zero racking on the gantry whatsoever. We'll see how belt tension works when we get to that. I plan to run shake and tune on here like I always do. Probably gonna run calico on here like I always do. Those provide some extra tools that I really like. So we'll take a look at what that looks like, but this is super smooth and nice. I really, really like it. Use a chimney and newspaper, no fluid. And that's what my wife does when she grills out. Happy is the same thing that you talk about. So Jeremy, do you guys have the gantry on your Inertia³? Because I don't know about you, but I'm about to start printing. We've done that. We need to do some motor stuff now. It's my favorite part. I gotta find some motors. While I do that, clean up the desk here. Just a touch. Probably don't need this one anymore. Yeah, the gantry is on. Been printing about 3 months now. That's cool, man. I knew it. I knew that when you moved on to Stealth Changer yesterday that you probably had your Inertia³ done. How's the Death Racer? You done with that too? Motors. That's what we're looking for. All right. Motors are, we got 4 of these. Motors are these. They're going to be, what came with the kit is a 2804 S35, meaning that the shaft is 35 millimeters long. That is so that we have double shear. This is the double shear top. There's a bearing that doesn't stay in. This is the top here. It probably will stay in. I want to say, I don't remember, I printed these a while ago, that I use that weird setting in Bamboo Studio that enlarges your holes. So my bearings do not stay in. I do not want to reprint these to make that a thing because it's fine. If you print yours correctly, they probably will stay in there. I don't know for sure. Anyway, 2804s, a little bit louder of a motor. They can run a 2.8 amp max, so you're able to squeak it up a little bit on the amperage there. But your S35s are going to allow double shear. Printing like a pro. Oh man, so many chats. Hold on one sec. Long-winded. This is what you meant about the white band. Prusa i3 printers. The proper orientation of the X and Y axis bearings involves aligning the inner ball bearings such that they are positioned at 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock positions. Tracking to reduce possible wobble. Makes sense to me. I don't know for sure, but what I can say is that I remember, I think, only seeing 3 tracks instead of 4. That doesn't make sense. I feel like there has to be I didn't do that for whatever it's. We'll see if it matters. I didn't do that. Anyway, we're going to use what the kit came with. So we'll use the 2804s. I do prefer the 2504s. A little bit lower amperage capable, but very much nicer motor as far as being a little quieter, a little more torquey. So the faster a motor can spin, the less the torque it's going to have. This is able to go up to 2.8 amp like we were talking about, which means it has a little bit less torque than the 2504. But these will work just fine. We'll just tune them down a little bit. Yeah. Integrated cabling here. I would prefer that they were pigtail so that I can just install this and then connect my wiring. You could always add that if you wanted to, just a little soldering and crimping here. You could put a pigtail on, or if they were the kind that had motor cables that just plug into the motor, that is really, really my preference. But we can make these work. Just curious, Steven. Yeah, it's a fair question. I didn't look at that. I didn't check. I have never built a Prusa printer. I am familiar with what you're talking about. I have heard that. I have seen that. I have not. I did not remember that, obviously. Anyway, so on this first one, according to the manual there, it has us put the flange side down. So we're going to do that. And then it has you use the key, the tool. You need this. It's got an R and an L. I'm using the one on the screen here says X and Y. Mine says R and L. I'm not really sure why. Whatever. So I'm using the L side to position that motor where it's going to go. We're going to go do 2 with this one, and we'll flip it over and do 2 with the other side. And I've always found it that I need to go back and slightly tweak it anyway to make sure the belt's not rubbing on the flange. So I'm not super worried about being exact. I think the guide gets you pretty damn close, and that's going to be good enough for most things. From there, probably going to do, let's see if I'm looking for the set screws. This is the stuff it came with, and there are pulleys in here. So these are the pulleys it came with. GT2 20 tooth. These also do not have set screws. So my kit did not come with any sort of set screw. That's gonna be fun. Hopefully I have some set screws that are the proper size. We'll find out. Yeah, Steven, if that becomes an issue, I'll shoot you a note and let you know about those Y bearings. I don't think so. That may be one of those things that's kind of like village lore, where people say to do this thing or you're gonna mess up your machine. Like, I don't know. What does a bearing and a couple of rods cost if you do mess it up? Probably not very much. Maybe some time to replace them or whatever. So I've had this happen to me before where I've gotten some pulleys and needed some set screws. So I just got this kit here, Amazon. And then I think I needed these. These are M5 by 8. So probably M4 maybe. See once I find the right size here. Yeah, these are M4 by 6s here. So I think anything M4 is going to work. I've got 4s and 6s. I'm going to use the longer ones because they're a little easier. They got more thread on them, so they have more grip. And then I'll use my tool here to push those into where they need to be. I'm
I'm not going to Loctite them right now. I will Loctite them later when we make the final adjustment on belt path. I'll pull out one at a time, assuming I can access them. I think I can. Looking at the front ones right now, there is a window I can access on the front. On the rear, I do have a rear window I can access as well. So should not be an issue to access these and adjust them later with some Loctite to make sure they don't back out. We'll do that. I normally just do the one, put the gauge on there to where I need it to be, like that. Kind of sit that down so it makes working a little easier, and then we'll just kind of put that on there snug. I'm not going super tight, but snug enough that it doesn't move, it doesn't rotate, and I can spin the motor with that pulley. And then I'll put the other one in again, just snug on there so it doesn't move. Like that. Then we'll make another one that matches. Over here. Motor. So I end up keeping these boxes. I use this to ship small things, or use them as spare for spare motors to protect them so they don't kind of bump into each other and stuff. What do you guys do with these extra motor boxes? Anything interesting? I literally use them for shipping small stuff. People will reach out, and I freely say, and I'll say it again today, if you need parts and things, reach out to me. I may have what you need. We can get you some stuff. As I continue to clean out and declutter things, I am more than happy to repurpose or rehome printer parts. So if you need something, reach out to me. And when that happens from time to time, I use those boxes to send stuff. So there's that one. So this should be both of our X motors with the pulley going down like this. And then our Y motors have the flange of the pulley going up towards the There's two. Go ahead and unbox both of these next ones. That one. That one. All right, for this one, again, this flange of the pulley needs to go up. We'll go that way. Once I get one of these set screws in, we'll put the gauge on there, make sure it's at the right height. So again, I'm gonna use mine is marked differently. The manual says X and Y, mine says L and R. I'm gonna use the R side of mine to get the right gap. Spacing off the bottom of the motor housing, and then also off the flange of the pulley itself. Should be something like putting one set screw on the flat of the D-cut shaft on the motor, and then the other one will be on the circle. I have heard when you're doing quad XY that you should do both set screws on the round side of the shaft. Again, I think I may do that afterwards. There's a motor sync thing that should happen, and to be able to sync, you have to loosen your front two motors. You'll drive everything, and then retension your front two motors, hopefully on a round side of the shaft. And because we're adjusting stuff later, I will do that. That'll be part of the tuning in the machine, because there's some software that goes along with that. Ever mess with OMC 2504 high temps? Been digging those for. I have used those on a budget build when I was building a budget Trident. They're fine. They to me were no different than Moons or LDO or whatever else. I think they're all very, very similar. And if you can save a couple pennies and repurpose that into the build, then you'll be fine. I don't know that they're any better or worse than anything else. There's also a motor sync macro. Yeah, that's kind of where I was going, Reth, is that the motor sync macro is what I use, which is why I set it up during the firmware side of the house. I use LH's. LH is the designer of the Stinger, and because the Stinger uses 2 Y motors on the bed, he's got a motor sync macro that selects one motor and moves it 10 millimeters forward and back a few times, and then locks it into position, allowing you time to tighten down your secondary pulley. And then the macro finishes and you're good to go. You save it, and those motors are synced in time there. But then there's also a macro that you can run before printing as part of your start macro that will sync motors before you print. I also use that one. That's what I'm using on my Trident over there. Cool. Luckily, I had some of those set screws. Okay, done with that tool. What do we got next? Are Kraken motors overkill for the floor? Probably. When I think about the cost of a Kraken motor and Havoc, I think you're talking about something like this one. So this is kind of a Kraken motor. It's a 3 amp motor, Honey Badger style. So this is the initial release from Fabrico. 3 amp motor, which probably don't need 3 amps, so that's probably overkill. And then it's an 8mm shaft. Also probably overkill, especially when you're doing double shear. And we're only running 6mm belts. So if I were doing like a 9mm belt or even a 12mm belt, and I were building a really big machine, maybe like a 350 or a 400, so now we're in the rat rig territory, that's where these motors would really be more useful. But because this is only a 300 build, using 6mm belts, you're probably going to be just fine running the $25 motors versus the $50. You're using OMC. Yeah, stepper online, same thing. Yeah, those should be fine. Okay, so this is the step we're on right now. It's got us do the, looks like the front 2 motors first. Yeah, and then the back 2. Okay, so we'll do the front 2 motors first, using the double shear and some M3x45s. X is on the left, Y is on the right. So keep that in mind as we're doing this. Okay, let's go over here. Let me get some M3x45s out of the drawer. Should have plenty of those. All right, so they want the X motor on the left, and that would be the one with the flange facing down. So this guy here, flange facing down, set screw up top, goes like that. And the manual doesn't describe which way your wiring should come out. I like my wiring to run down the side of the channel. So I'm going to face my wiring in like so. And because I don't have that extra connector there, I should be able to sit that flush wiring should go down the channel and be very clean and hidden in there. I have some 3030 channel cover. This is stuff from Open Builds, but you could print this as well. I printed this version for the rat rig. So you can print something long enough to cover that and to keep those wirings in. There's also a little bit of a cutout down in the Z-axis motor mount that allows for wiring to go through. Although I may need to remove that to access the connection to go down through. The hole looks too small to take the connection, but we'll deal with that when we deal with that. That goes like that, and then the bearing should go on top to support the shaft. I am realizing though, as I hold this up there, that my bearing is going to fall out when I do that, so I'm definitely going to have to reprint those parts, I believe. But we'll get it on. I'll reprint the parts off stream while I replace them. You guys will never know the difference. You got 2 pair of the speedy motors you put on your Trident. Just haven't done it yet. Okay. Yeah, when you say speedy, you're talking 2504s? These ones are the superpower. Still live. Yeah, Lego Therapy, I usually do 3 hours on a Sunday. So I go from 7 to 10 Pacific. Depending on what's going on during the day, I'll go a little longer. We are doing Father's Day stuff today and tomorrow, so I'm gonna try and stick to the 3-hour mark. So we got roughly 30 minutes left. All right, I need some motor mounts. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the bearings out of here because they just sort of fall out anyway. And I'll reprint these. That's good. I'll reprint these parts without that adjustment so that those bearings will be in there tight and they should not fall out. In addition to that, what I will likely do is either super glue them in there or add a little 3D gloop to hold those things in. I may even get the soldering iron out and deform this. Just kind of push some of that plastic over so that it mechanically holds the bearing in there. That way it doesn't come out over time. But again, we'll figure all that out later. I'll tell you about it when we stream on, I think we settled on Wednesday. Yeah, Lego channel. So Yuri, Lego Therapy is one of my best good friends for more than 20 years now. He runs a YouTube channel called Lego Therapy where he does all sorts of builds from all different themes of Lego, and it's just kind of his thing. So if you want to go over and give him a like and a follow, that would help him out. Longer stream from Wednesday? Maybe, Kitchell. If I can get my crap together between now and Wednesday, get some electronics in here and things like that, then absolutely. We're getting through the gantry right now. We still have to do tool head. There's a ton of wiring to get through, and then we still have firmware and tuning and all the other stuff. So hopefully, but we'll see. Up at your cabin being lazy. Go and hang out with the fam. Yeah, no worries, Shax. I'll be here same time next week. So whatever time zone you're in, minus 3 hours, that's when we start. 7 o'clock in the morning for me. Just trying to find the correct length hardware here. Got a lot of 40s and a lot of 30s. 45s maybe, yeah, Pacific time. We are in Pacific time. Yeah, thanks, Shax. We'll talk later, man. Thanks for stopping by. All right, 45s. Here we go. I want to make sure the logo is correct on this. Logo goes, I want to say like that. I think that's how it goes. Is there any indication in the manual? Yes. Looks like logo goes this way. Points to the upper right corner. So that's what we'll do. So like that, and then I'll do one more, and we'll put the motor in. 2 screws should hold the motor while we put the other 2 in. Oh, Shax, you're in SoCal. Cool, man. I live near Lancaster. Lancaster, Palmdale, if you know where that is. That's where I'm at. Those 45s look very long. I don't know if you can see that, but those stick out quite a bit. And in my experience, these motors do not accept that long of a screw. We'll see. Grew up at Arrowhead. Cool. Some of living in retired time. Yeah, I wish. Some days I want to live in retired time. I don't know. I still like what I do, man. It's still fun. Most of the time. And, I don't know. I still feel like there's more to do. So there's a little bit of that going on. So the problem is it's fun. There's still feels like there's more to do. And that is what keeps me going. All right, so I've done that. These screws have bottomed out. Some of us can't type. You can see there's still a gap between these parts. I don't know that 45 is the correct length for this. I'm thinking maybe a 35 is probably the correct length. Just checking the manual. It does say 45 socket head cap screw. That's too long. It's probably a 35. I don't know if Steph made it into the chat today, but if you are here, Steph, just kind of lurking in the background, maybe another change to the manual there. I believe it needs to be a 35, not a 40. If you're not here, I'll just shoot you a note on Discord. Luckily, I have some 35s in the same container as the 40. Pop these out, pop these other ones in. We'll try those. 35s make a lot more sense. They look a lot better on the length. Maybe even able to do 30s in here. We'll see. These bottom out. So Lego Therapy, how'd your stream go yesterday? I know you went for like an hour. I stuck around for, I think I caught like 20 minutes of it. I was multitasking. I didn't see everything. Yeah, so it's probably a 30. 35's bottom out too soon. So note to self, future self, tell Steph, these should be 30s, not 45s. Which means to go back to the other screw kit, the original screw kit. Come on. Hold on, wait a second. I think I might have just tried 40s instead of 35s. I think I made a mistake. Let's see. That's a 35. Let's try this. Yeah, 35. 35 works. 35. Yep. It's gonna be just fine. You had so many sets on the desk, they started falling off and almost took out your mic. You did have a lot of sets up there. I think you were showing off like the whole collection of whatever that theme was. And then I think we started texting back and forth quite a bit after that as well. Yeah, and that'll just kind of go into that rail nicely, and you won't even see that. It comes out really clean. More 35s in here. I'm just gonna leave the 2 in there for now because I know that I need to take that off and reprint those parts. Just part of being in the beta build. Again, so on the right hand side here, the Y motor side, thickness of the pulley down, thin flange going up. Wires go to the inside. Like that. And then we need our cover. So and we'll get these on permanently after I put some new stuff. I'll do that off stream. Get to the point where we are wrapping up. Right. Collected all but a handful of sets. What is the Dreams theme? I thought that's what I saw, but I was thinking too that that's kind of different. It's kind of weird, like they had those little girl sets or whatever. Hey, Bearded Bucket, loving the color scheme. Thanks, man. A little bit of purple, a little bit of blue. Threw some orange in there so we don't look like stuff. But yeah, it is smooth. We got the gantry going. Tool head is done. I've sort of mocked that up already. I need to trim down the wiring so it's just quick plug and play when we put it on the machine. But everything is moving nice and smoothly. I love it. We've done down here, if you can see this, we've done some customizing of the parts. Put the killer prints on the front of that. Have to hit me up about another crown for a friend. Yeah, you got it. If you want a pink crown, I know that's the color of the breast cancer awareness stuff, and we could do that, and we could do like some pink ribbons or something on there. I got some ideas. Just give me like I don't know, 45 minutes or so. We'll be wrapped up. We'll do our best. I love supporting causes like that. So definitely give me the detail. Anyway, so that's that. Let's see what we have left on this. Got, all right. Front on, we got the rear to go. Let me flip this machine around. We'll add some more motors to it. And I love that gantry movement. That thing just whips. Like picking up the machine, spinning it around. It just kind of like falls where it needs to be. I love that. That's so smooth. In my practice, it's usually the Y rails that give me the trouble when I'm using linear guides and stuff. I tend to bind because racking and other things, but with these rods, that may be the way of the future. I am running low on M3x35s. I've got just enough to do the rest of these motors. We'll have to order some more. So that's that. And then, all right, so on the rear left, this is the left. Keep in mind that the printer is flipped around backwards. So left side is now your right and vice versa. So on this left side over here, we need a motor that looks like this: small flange up top, thick flange at the bottom. This is your rear left motor. Just like before, we put the wiring down inside the channel. So I'll just move these slide-in T-nuts out of the way. Motor goes like such. And then we do double shear on the top, 2 M335s in like that. Enough to hold that one. Another one there. And cool. These have no adjustability in them like the front because they don't need it. You only need adjustability at one end of the belt path, and that's what the the stuff in the front is. Other motor, this side, same thing. Adjust so the wiring is on the inside of the frame, cap on the top, taking note of which orientation the logo goes, like that. This really is one of the easier builds I think I've ever done. This gantry went together so nicely. I think it's adaptable too. I mean, if you had a, let's say you had an old hypercube, right, and you just want to keep your frame, you shorten this beam here. You can bring things in on the Y. Same for your gantry axis, right? And then for your Y rails, you bring it in this way. As far as like getting shorter linear rods, and you could adapt this to an old hypercube frame. Hell, you could even adapt this to a rat frame if you wanted. That's super nice. Love it. All right, so those are all mocked up until we get new parts. Let's see, what else? We got, okay, idlers in the front. Loosely threaded M5 tensioner bolt into the block. Not fully tightened. Repeat this for the other front motor mount. M5x12s. Pretty sure I have some of those. If I don't, we'll find out. We'll make some. I got some 16s pretty readily available. Let's see if these other ones are 12s or not. Those are 15s and 15s. 10s are not going to work. It's going to be a little small. What is this? I have some of the socket head hardware, which would be great for tensioners. But I want to say these are M6. These will be too big. And that is correct. Those are M6. Let's see what else I have. I do prefer to have a socket head for a tensioner because just with an Allen key, they work a little better. Button heads tend to round off in my experience, especially over time. If you do several iterations of tightening, loosening with those things, button heads round off. So a M5 with a socket head and a washer is more than good enough. Let's see. Oh, I got 16s, but I feel like that's too long. I don't want it to run into the motor pulley, so we'll try one out. Let's see. Back around again. So I want my tensioner to go all the way forward. Probably should not have used as much as I did. We'll leave that loose. I think I put too much torque on there trying to measure it out. Good catch. All right, now that slides like it should. All right. I like the tensioner to be all the way towards the rear of the machine so that when we belt this thing, I've got some space to be able to actually tension that and pull it forward. So pushing it to the rear and seeing if I can make this screw grab in there. It does. Now, how much I tighten that, if it goes too far, is that going to thread into the pulley there? Gotta have the right tool. Where is the one with the correct path? Oh, I dropped it earlier, that's why. Ugh. Drop. Alright, so as I tighten this down, see if I can feel that. I mean, it looks like I can tension and not run into the pulley, but hard to see. Move it to the other side over here and see if I can see through the window on the tensioner. Because I do not have 12. I've only got these 16. I mean, it looks like it clears with a 16. No, it is touching the, like if there were a belt on those pulleys, it would absolutely touch the belt. Am I done yet, Liz? I was waiting on you to get here. Now we can actually finish. now we can finish. So everyone, now that Liz is here, we can finish the build and we can start printing. Liz, I love your early morning streams, by the way. I've been catching a few of those. Been pretty quiet, haven't said anything, but definitely logging in just to check in, drink some coffee, and hang out with Liz in the mornings. Liz streams over on Twitch, if you guys are not familiar. She's always fun, showing off new filaments, new things to print. Liz is a good person. All right, I do have some extra spare hardware over here. One second. This is the only other M5 hardware I have. I really don't want to order anything, and it looks like I have exactly 4 of 12s. Let's see if that is true, because they look a little long. They're 15s. Okay. Well, in the meantime, I do have a bag of 10s. These are M4s. That's not gonna work. Where are those 10s that I had? Here. These are 16s. These are 10s. So we're gonna go with 10s. That'll cheat us out of 2 millimeters of adjustability. But in the meantime, I think it'll be okay. We'll just belt things a little more snug from the start. And hopefully that's enough, even though we'll be down 2 millimeters. I also do get the socket head on here too, which is the preference. Being a creeper, yeah. Lego therapy, that's what we do, man. We creep on each other's streams and support however we can. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to get some 12s. Ends cheat me out of too much responsibility. Too much ability to tension. I need a little more adjustability than that. Oh, it just sucks I don't have any 12s. What are these? Still feel like 16s. Guys, I'm really trying not to get any additional hardware. I really just want to use what I have. Let's see, are these 12s? Found a bag with 3 M5s in it. And look, they are 12. So lucky. Only thing is they're black. That's okay. So I've got exactly 3 M12s. They're also not socket head. It's disappointing. But they'll work. And we don't have to order anything. Just be careful on the tensioning and whatever. So we don't strip them out. So just pushing that motor to the rear, and then I'm screwing this in till the head of the screw kisses the face. I really should just put some washers on here. That'll help with these things being able to slide. Should print that model to see the screw sizes. What model? Cool tray. You talking about down here, Liz? Tray? Like the bottom? Should print that model to see the screw sizes. It's so nice. Not sure what model you mean. There are a ton of screw size models there. So with these longer screws, we do have room for this extra washer on here. So that just makes things slide a little bit easier. So pressing the motor all the way back, putting that in until it kisses the plastic. And then that'll give us max adjustability. Send you a link in the server. Hey, it works for me. Oh, the silicone tray. Yeah, silicone tray. People have really liked that. You are like the 3rd or 4th person that has asked me about that. You can find it on Amazon. It is silicone rubber, so you can put some high temp stuff on here. It's got pockets that some of them are magnetic, some are not, but they hold all of the little bits and pieces from running away. And then you even have here, you have like a design where you can put like little pieces and parts, and inside there are numbers, so you can sort of keep them in the order that you remove them. And then on this side over here, you have a similar thing that will kind of hold your pieces and parts and numbers, and there are numbers down inside. And across the bottom, really can't see it on camera, but I can. There's a scale. So I have inches up to 15 up top, and then down here I have centimeters up to 38. So quick mat cost me, I think, less than 30 bucks or something like this. Washable, flexible, comes in multicolors. I chose blue because it stands out against the black dust. For me, have to have it. Otherwise, I'm dropping stuff all over the floor. I never find it again. Highly recommend it if you build anything at all, whether it's printers or you do electronic stuff or crafting or whatever. This thing is great. Folks, we're getting to the end of the Gantry build for today, and that's sort of like the last little piece that I wanted to do. This is what our printer looks like according to Chrome. This is what it looks like in real life. Very similar, although different colors. So I say we've done a good job. The Gantry build is done. This is where I wanted to be last week, before all the challenges of incorrect parts and pieces. So that's, I think, what we're going to call it. Only thing left now is to build an extruder and tool head that I'm not going to use. I'm using the Reaper. And so it's not covered by this build. And then we did skirts a couple of weeks ago. And that's really all that's left in the build. So as far as manual goes, we're in uncharted territory now. So thinking outside the box, we've got, what is it? We've got some electronics to do. So that'll be sort of this week. We've got a tool head to do. Reaper does have its own manual, so we'll open that up and take a look, and we'll build off of that. I can't show too much of it, unfortunately. We will build it without an actual hot end in it, though. We'll put that on there. We'll do some electronic stuff, and then that's kind of it. Got firmware after that, and we should be printing. So hopefully you get through all of it this week. Next stream is going to be on Wednesday, as voted on by you all in the chat. So Wednesday morning, probably. A little bit later, I'll put that out today or tomorrow, so you guys can sign up to be notified. And then we'll do our typical Sunday. If I can squeeze one more in there between Wednesday and Friday, I will do so. But yeah, hopefully get pretty close to being done this week. Like drop in a 1x1 Lego, gone forever. Dude, there are things that are smaller than a 1x1 Lego, like this right here. This little screw. I've dropped so many of these, I had to order a pack of 50. Oh, Zombie finally showed up right as we're finishing up. That's good. Thanks for being here, Zombie. Kitch, see ya. Folks, that's it. We're at the 3-hour mark right now. I'm going to push you over to Steve Builds, who follows me up on stream. He's continuing on with, I think, is Prusa Core 1. Don't quote me. But Steve starts in like 60 seconds. So I'm going to push you guys over to Steve Builds' YouTube channel. Watch him. If you really enjoy more building stuff, go check out Steve. He's the master at all of it. Yeah, Pez Liz definitely beat you, Zombie. So she's my favorite human. My favorite Twitcher today. She takes the Twitch prize. See y'all Wednesday-ish morning. I'll put it out there for you. And you guys enjoy. See y'all in a couple days.